Hello guys and welcome back to another video. So it's quite dark in the room, and that's because very recently I've been spending a lot of my evenings, because I work during the day, working really hard on Fatal Knockout. Because like I've been saying in the past few videos, it's like kind of getting very like foreboding almost. The print is coming up soon, May 2nd, and the current date today is April 26th. And basically what I've been doing is I've been spending a lot of my time working on the iconography for the game. So for the fonts and the icon pack, which I've used, which is just like a base for now because we're going to be upgrading the art later on, but it's just so we have something for the game. I'll leave the link in the description for them if you want to check them out because they're really cool. But yeah, so this video is going to be going over how I've done the iconography pass, how I've incorporated the art, which is faultlessly as kindly done ahead of the print, and we're just going to show how big of a difference it makes, and then I'm going to show off a playtest at the end of the video, which just shows off like how quickly people can read the cards, and also like if there's any problems with some icons and stuff like that, and people not really sure what's going on. But yeah, anyway, as you can see here, if we just like scroll over here, you can see immediately the huge change that's been made to the game. Like previously, if we look over here, grab this deck here, and we look at the cards, this is what they used to look like. They used to look like this, okay? So like really plain, only text, and it's almost like in sort of code, and you really need to like get to grips with what the game is to be able to understand it, which is kind of the case with the iconography. But people can remember visuals a lot easier than text. And on top of that, I'm hoping that cards like this will be able to sort of be registered and understood a lot quicker when people draw cards into their hand. So I want them to be able to draw cards into their hand and then be able to read their hand super quick and then know what they're doing and get on with it. Because like I said, games are only supposed to be about 10 to 15 minutes long. And when you have a bunch of cards with loads and loads of text on, it gets to the point where you're kind of like reading a novel or something like that just to be able to play the game. So this has been sort of the transition from text to mainly icons. And as you can see on a lot of the cards, there are still some text, just because basically, like for example with this push, this is a good example. This push, you don't really need to read push once you understand what this set of icons actually mean, because this set of icons means push because of the little arrow down there, and just basically everything together means push. But that push there is just to help people learn what the icons do that bit quicker without having loads of text. So for the actual cards, there's no unique art. Like there's some games like Villainous or The Binding of Isaac or stuff like that, you know, which have unique art for each card. First of all, it's not really in the budget, and second of all, we need as much real estate as possible to make these icons as big as possible to get all this information across. So using key art on every single card just also isn't viable in terms of gameplay as well as budget, you know. So as you can see, these cards are like quite clean, they're quite plain, and they're really just to get that information across, but like also maintaining the style of the game. So right now I'm just going to pop up on screen the artwork, so the work in progress, board art and stuff like that on the screen, and you can really get to grips with like the visual style of the game. And if you want me to go into more depth of the artwork later down the line and how we decided on what artwork to do, and maybe even some like sort of work in progress images like before the final box art was made, well, the work in progress final box art was made, then I can do that as well if you want to see that video. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how these cards turned out. It's not going to be the last version at all. When I take it to UK Games Expo in June, if you're going, by the way, make sure to comment down below and tell me, and then we can meet up and talk. That'd be really cool. But yeah, when I go to UK Games Expo, I'm going to be taking it to the playtesting area. I'll be there pretty much all weekend just playing, and it's going to be really cool. But yeah, there's going to be mainly to test, like, can people read this reference card and can they know what these cards do? Because the playtest which I did today, which I'll show you in the episode, like I said, that's with people that already played the game. That's with Lewis and Alex, which you know. So they had to learn what the icons were, but they had the context of how to play the game. So yeah, anyway. Moving on, so we got this like board here. This is going to be probably a lot smaller in the actual game. There might not be cards which are placed on the mat, just because they're pretty much going to be like A6 sort of oversized cards, kind of what you see in Tiny Epic, any of the Tiny Epic games, like Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, that sort of thing. The primary purpose is just to show off some cool key art. Like, this is like, oh, this looks really cool. Like, if they see on the table, people walking past might be like, oh, that's really cool art. But it's also to sort of house these tokens. So this is the health tokens that you have. So whenever you take damage, you put a health token on your map. And that helps you keep track of how much health you have, because you have a total of 5 health. And then also there's a mechanic in the game which allows you to burn your hand. Because this game, there's quite a bit of RNG to it, even though it is very strategic. And so to help negate some of that RNG, you're allowed to burn your hand twice per game. And when you burn your hand, you put a token on one of these 2 slots. And that just helps quite a bit. Like, if you've got a really bad hand, or you don't have a hand which is good for your situation, or you know there's only 3 cards left in your deck, and you know exactly what those 3 cards are and you really want them, then you can just burn your hand, and it's really easy. And as you can see here, these mats are character specific, as well. So you have the zoner here, and then you have the grappler as well. And yeah, so this is what the grappler cards look like. It's sort of very similar. As you can see, the grappler is quite a bit simpler compared to the zoner. I'm probably in the rulebook going to say, like, oh, if for your first game you probably want to play as the grappler, or maybe like the rushdown or something like that. Because, like, yeah, some of these cards are like really simple. And yeah, but long story short, they are pretty much the same as a zoner in terms of, like, learning the iconography is hopefully going to be quite easy, and it's all about really just being able to bam, play as many cards as possible. The unique thing with the grappler, well, the other characters will have this, but the zoner doesn't anyway, is that you have a shield as well. So this is like a shield token, which you can place in front of your character, and that'll help you prevent damage for a turn, which is really cool. Also, each character will have a unique reference card as well, which is quite cool. But yeah, moving on to the character pieces. These aren't obviously the final versions. This is just in Tabletop Simulator. But this is how the characters look previously. Just a Tabletop Simulator man. But one of the things, the reason why I chose this man is because he has his arm sticking out. And the reason why I did that is because the arm sticking out is very important to determine orientation, which is huge for this game. It's the main mechanic pretty much, is orientation, because moving forward along the board, like, if, oh, that was the wrong one. If my character, excuse me, I forgot how to turn here. There we go. If my character's facing this way, move forward is this way. But if my character is facing this way, then move forward is this way. And even more importantly, if it says like attack 3 away, forward, then there's a big difference between me facing that way and being able to do the attack, and me facing that way and not being able to do it. So making it so it's obvious that the character is facing a certain way is very important as well. Now, you might be wondering, why doesn't she have a weapon? Because, like, you see on here, like, she's got a weapon. Well, her weapon is separate because she can throw her weapon and also lose her weapon on the ground and also do damage from her weapon as well. So there will actually be a separate cardboard standee for her weapon, which is quite cool. But yeah, like, one of the main things that's missing from the artwork at the moment is the stage. However, there is going to be an interesting video coming up just about the stage, because there is some really exciting things going on with the stage. I was on the phone with the manufacturer who's doing the prototype today twice, because we were both really excited about this stage idea. It's going to be completely unique. You're not going to see anything quite like it before. There are some similarities with other games, like there is with anything really, but it's going to be very unique and very visually striking. Like, this is a game that you're going to want to display, you know, so that's going to be cool. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move over to some of the more, like, developer-y workflow sort of thing, and I'm going to show off, like, sort of how I've made it easy for me to be able to create these cards very quickly. Right, okay, so about 3 nights ago, I think, I just went, you know what, I'm going to buy an icon pack, because Fodsley isn't going to have enough time amongst all the other stuff that we got to get done by the end of the month to create a bunch of bespoke icons, as well as, you know, do everything anyway. So I bought an icon pack which just had like a bunch of squares, arrows, and a bunch of cool different symbols which matched the Y2K style. And I was like, right, okay, so instead of going, when I'm making the card, instead of like having to drag and drop every single icon in individually and create something like, you know, like something like this, I was like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to beforehand create every single ability and every single move that's in the game. And so like here's all the movement here, so you can like, these are all the move backs and these are all the move forwards, and exactly the same with the attacks as well. You got all the attack forwards and all the attack backs, every single possible one, which was like previously designed in the other cards, which were, you know, like the text-based cards. And I was like, okay, make sure I've got every single one possible. Same with the push and pulls, and then here's just like the individual icons, which I've like, I can like create extra icons if I want to, like extra icon packs if I want to. And we got like the grapples here, and we got like the 2 damage command grabs, and just a 2 damage like regular attacks and stuff like that. And I just want to create all these so I can be like, you know what, I want a move back to in this card, even though there is already one actually, and I just drag it in. I copy and paste the icon over and put it there, and then boom, done. Like super simple. And this is like probably the most developer-y I'm gonna get. I do like discussing a lot of design stuff, but in terms of developer stuff, people who make board games don't really get into it too much, but this is just like a huge time saver. If you're making a board game that has a lot of cards, or not even that many cards to be honest, any way that you can save yourself time when you're building cards is essential, because this isn't just saving me time in the first iteration of making these cards. I'm going to be iterating on these cards probably like 100 times before it gets published or before it even launches on Kickstarter. And just having this like essentially this asset pack, which I've created, the sort of atlas for icons, you know, just here and readily available, so I can just swap them, drag and drop them in. It's unbelievably useful. I'll say that, like pretty much. It's like incredibly useful. So if you're doing the same thing or doing something similar or just making a board game, consider creating like an asset pack for whatever you're using, if it just helps you in the long run. Even though it might be tedious and take like a day to do, I highly recommend doing it, to be honest. But yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show off the playtest of the essentially the first time that Lewis and Alex were exposed to these icons. And it went, spoiler alert, it went quite well. There is a lot of problem icons that we're going to be messing about with, because when they have as much context as they do, and they've played the game as much as they do, and they don't understand how some of the icons work, even after me explaining it to them, then it's an issue. So yeah, hopefully enjoy that.
Attack? Yeah,
Yes.
but I don't get the visual indicator for the attack.
So whenever
that's like, I think that's 2 in front of you, so it would be here and here.
Yeah, so whenever there's a red square, that means damage is being done on that square, and the amount of shurikens determines how much damage is being done. So that's damage on space 2 and 3, and it's for 1 damage.
Right.
I'm gonna move forward 1, pull nothing, and then I'm gonna move forward 2. Oh, then I have to rotate. Oh wait, and then I can just pull you towards me.
Yeah.
And then go wabam.
It's not a grab.
Okay, then I just go wabam.
Yes.
Oh, I move 1 back, and then push
That's
my
forward.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I move 1 forward.
Yeah, I was just saying.
And then.
Oh no, but then I can't knock him back actually because I'm facing
Yeah.
the wrong.
And then Alex
But
hits
then-
you with the.
But he's facing that way though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I can
but
hear.
now I just move back 1,
Oh, alright. Yeah.
and now I just wabam you into the wall.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, bam.
and
There we are.
obliterated.
But yeah, it's not awful. It's just a bit difficult because even the separation of either or is not that it's necessarily confusing. It's just there's like too much on the card, and I think it can be displayed in less. And I think it can be visualized in less than what you're already doing. Then it can be like either or something like that. I just feel like there's too much shit going on.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's 4 separate things here is just too much shit when really it's only 2 abilities. But they're just doing it the opposite way around. And I feel like there's probably an easier way to visualize that than this. Because this makes it look like he has 4 different abilities, let's say on this, when he
Yeah.
doesn't. It's just 2 abilities, but in the other direction.
Yeah.
So I feel like that can be slimmed down probably somehow.
I agree actually, yeah, because I think that A divider line should be kept for ores, which are two different types of abilities, but for the same ability.
Yeah,
It could probably just be, yeah. It could probably even just be like putting these squares on the other side of his face and having another arrow facing that way, and then, yeah, okay. That is fine. That could be done. That's a good idea. Right, okay, so that's it from me. So thank you guys for watching. Next episode will either be on the stage, depending on if me and the manufacturer can get something hashed out and sorted out, or if not, then it'll be on something else to do with Fatal Knockout, because I'm really, really excited about this project, so I'm going to try and get some more videos up. If you've been enjoying the series and you're really liking the look of this game, then there's one major way you can really, really help out, just build hype for Fatal Knockout, is if you have a Board Game Geek account, and I assume you do because you are watching a video about me making a board game, then one of the links in the description is to go to the Fatal Knockout Board Game Geek page and just wishlist it or like it or favorite it or whatever, you know, just get some data on that Board Game Geek page so the algorithm starts realizing, oh, people are actually interested in this game. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.